Hello, everyone. If I have rotated this PDF correctly, we should be more or less live at this point. Can someone confirm? Good evening. So, how about that new Void champion, huh? I see chat is confirming that, and there's a lot of people here. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I may need to... Hang on. Wait a minute. Where do they put that now? There's a thing... There is a thing you can do. I need to put slow mode on the chat because that's going way too fast. I can't keep up. Where the hell did they put that? Did they move it? Oh my god. Okay. Leave it. Doesn't matter. Who cares? How you doing? How's everyone doing tonight? I have a favor to ask. If you have not seen her splash art yet, if you haven't seen it at all, don't look at it yet. I'll show it to you later, at the later point in the stream, but don't look at it yet. Because I want to do a little A/B testing thing. Like I just want to see about a thing. So hang on a second. Just wait. I will show it, and then like I'll just want to make sure. Yeah, because I have a thing in mind. We'll see about it. So hello. I'm doing. I've been sick. In case you can't tell, and I'm not 100%. My voice is not 100% recovered. I'm still coughing a bit. I've got some tea. Don't worry about me. And I figured I'd do something a little bit different for dear Bel'Veth here. I figured, since she's being announced with a cinematic that got leaked early because of some goddamn leakers, because of course it did, let's do a stream. Let's do a live stream where we do a animation breakdown of the cinematic for this character and talk a little bit about how, holy shit, there's like 1,900 people here. Okay, hi, hello. Okay, that was more than I thought. We'll do an animation breakdown of the cinematic itself, and then we'll talk about the character design and the way that this character is put together. Once again, if you haven't seen the splash art, please don't go look it up yet. Just wait. I have a thing I want to do. And along the way, I'm going to try and limit my coughing and not die while we're talking. So, with YouTube streaming, notifications are slow. Like, once I start streaming, sometimes people will show up, like, after 10 minutes and say we didn't get a notification until then. So I like to wait at least 5 minutes after I go live on a stream. Just to give people time to realize that the thing is happening in case they want to be there from the start. So, how y'all doing? I personally am quite happy with Bel'Veth. Like, I think they threaded the needle. There's a little bit of having your cake and eating it too there. A little bit, we'll talk about that. Once we get to it, there's a little bit, but like, no, yeah, like finally a proper scary monster Void champion in League of Legends. Fucking hooray, it's been a while. Which, you know, they couldn't help themselves from doing a little bit. I don't want to be too much up on my own hype here, but I'm like 25% convinced part of this champion is just to troll me specifically, but you'll see. Okay, so yeah, we'll just stay here looking at Kai'Sa in the best version of her character design for about another 2.5 minutes or so until we hit the 5-minute mark, and then we'll actually start doing the actual thing. So in the meantime, I'm just trying to read chat, trying really bloody hard to read. Good lord, it's going fast. So hi, oh, good lord, there's a super chat. Buenos dias from some Puerto Rican fans. Hope you're enjoying this as much as we are. In your opinion, what kinds of horror monster tropes are sorely missing from League? Oh god, it's scrolling so fast. Are sorely missing from League and could be experimented with? Well, I mean, I was gonna say anglerfish, but I love the Thing vibe at the end. P.S. Hope you feel better soon. Thank you very much, Yarthy. Like, when it comes to horror vibes that could still be experimented with, like this is sort of like we have a murder clown in League of Legends, right? Like, we have Shaco. He's technically a murder clown, but he's a really shitty murder clown. Like, he's really shitty. He's like some DeviantArt OC from 2005. Like, there's nothing to him. He's not special. He's not funny. He's not scary. He's not interesting. He's just like dude in checkerboard pants with a Joker face and knives. So I feel like given that there is a murder clown in the game already, you could do a lot more with the idea of like the scary clown. than they're actually doing. Oh god, 2,500. Okay, I'll start now. So, welcome to a live animation breakdown of the announcement cinematic for Bel'Veth. We're going to watch the cinematic through. We're going to talk about what the cinematic does. We're going to talk about the animation that's being used. And then we will look at her splash art and her character design, and we shall talk about that as well. Holy shit, not late. Yeah, I know, Kale Chips. Like, that's why I wait a little bit when I start the stream, so that people can have time to show up. Okay. To start with, let's just watch the whole thing. Let's just watch it start to finish, no commentary, and just see what happens. No audio? Oh, god damn it. Oh, it's the output. It's the thing that's outputting to the wrong thing. Hang on. Wait a minute. I can fix this. It's because I'm using Premiere Pro, and I have an audio set up for that program that's outputting to the wrong thing right now because I need it to output to another thing when I'm doing... Okay, one more time. Hang on. I just need to change the... thing to where it goes. Output to... Not to ACO, MME, and default output system speakers. You're hearing it now, right? Good. Okay, excellent. I was mocking Nicky Boy. Nicky Boy just did his stream like 5 minutes ago, and he had audio problems from the start, and I was sitting there, oh, low production values, Nicky Boy. Oh, God. Oh, well. Hoisted by my own petard. One more time. We will watch the thing through, then we will talk about the other stuff. As we were. And there we go. So, Riot was like, they were trolling, they wanted to troll me specifically with it. Like me and Nikki and Nicrit, all the other content creators would be like, no, give us a monster, give us a monster, give us a monster. This was them fucking with me specifically. Like, I swear to God, me specific, like some fucker at Riot was like, I know what'll fucking get him. It's like, this. It was just fucking with me specifically. That's not actually true, but it's fun to think so. But yeah, I am personally quite pleased with Bel'Veth. Like, we'll talk about a few ifs and buts along the... Oh, thank you, Tiberio. I don't know what currency that is, but thank you very much, Tiberio. we'll talk about the ifs and buts about her a little bit more, but what we have got going on here fundamentally is an anglerfish character design, right? Like, so this is a facade, this is a front, this is a fake version of her. I should actually tell the thing to capture my mouse, shouldn't I? So you can see what I'm doing with my mouse. I'm doing all these gestures with my mouse and you guys can't see them. There we go. This is an anglerfish character design. This is a character that is presenting a front that is specifically meant to look beautiful, but which hides something monstrous underneath. It's pretty basic, but it works. And it works specifically for Bel'Veth because the way that she's conceptualized as a character is that she's like this queen of the void who like mind controls people who like, she's done this specifically with Malzahar, who had this story where he led all these cultists to a hole in the ground where they all threw themselves in because they were so taken in by the beautiful vision of the void that they were seeing. That's the beautiful front. And then beneath that, we have the monstrous reality. Like, the reality of the thing is that it's not beautiful, it's an anglerfish, it wants to kill you. Like, that's the basic concept of the character, and for my money, it works pretty well. And it allows Riot to have their cake and eat it too, a little bit, because they get to have sexy, hot, void, dommy mommy, like, a void vor mommy for all the horny people, and they can give her a coven skin and stuff. They can have fun with that. But then on the other hand, all the fucking monster freaks like me are also going, yay, a real monster, that's nice. So they've sort of threaded the needle and made everybody happy, I think, on that one. So that's, like, good job on you, Riot. I quite like the character design overall. So let's talk about... let's talk about the cinematic itself. And I'm just going to try and look at... Chat always freaks out when I bring up Vor. It's not that weird. Or maybe it's just, I've been on the internet since the 90s. What I think is weird is probably not what most people think is weird. The way her dress works reminds me of the wings from Gargoyles. Yeah, that's true. I'm going to try and keep up with Super Chess as much as... Her lips also don't quite sync, which I find cool. Yeah, spoiler, I was going to talk about that. We'll get to it once we actually get to where... Oh, God. Isn't this just Elise evolution? No, it's the same kind of character. Like, it's Elise specifically is more of a Black Widow, which is not quite the same thing. But like, it's in the same area. Like, it's as much the same character as Pennywise. It's the same character as Shaco, you know. Violet Tide Caller Nami. Yeah, I wonder about that. Like, she's very much deep sea themed, and I'm wondering if they're gonna bring that back to the connection with Nami, who also has like her whole story is about the void, which no one remembers because it's been 10 billion years since anyone's heard from her. Oh, look, 4,000 years. Yes, I know, Odin. It's really hard to keep up. Oh, God, my voice is going to be rough after this one. So, let's actual cinematic, right? So this takes place after the call when Kaisa has jumped into the hole because she was fighting Rek'Sai. Where the fuck Rek'Sai is, I don't know. I was kind of hoping that she'd be there, but she has escaped Rek'Sai, I guess, landed deep down in the bottom of the void, and the bottom of the void is immediately characterized, or the bottom of the Shuriman void is immediately shown essentially in terms of the deep ocean. Like, the deep ocean is being seeded as a visual metaphor here very early. We've got like these tendrils sort of standing up that kind of look like seaweed floating. You can see all these like sort of curvy, wavy lines hanging out in the background. Like, and you've got these things here to look like corals and like sea plants. All of this just intended to already begin to evoke the imagery of the deep sea, of the deep ocean. But then there's another thing down there also, which is these things. And these are, I could just zoom in on it because I can control the world down here. Man-made things, right? Like, this is clearly some stuff from some city or village that the void has consumed. There's all this detritus. There's all this stuff lying around down here that is clearly man-made and human in nature. And that, again, also comes back... That's, again, is Bel'Veth, right? Like, she's a sort of deep-sea manta ray, anglerfish kind of creature, but she has this human facade on her. Like, there's this mix of the two things. And what Bel'Veth herself says in her dialogue is that she is everything the void has consumed, the presumption then being that everything that the void eats doesn't actually get obliterated as such, or at least some of the stuff doesn't get obliterated. It gets transported down to the deepest, darkest depths of the void, where it accumulates in these great big heaps and piles of just leftover garbage, including, it seems, quite possibly, the people. That thing there seems to be specifically some kind of Shuriman sun disk thing or another. And that imagery then comes to a head with the butterflies that fly in, because the butterflies are holding a little toy boat. Like, and that is very much like the peak of what's going on here is you have these little void butterfly creatures, very pretty, very beautiful, that are carrying along this child's model of a toy boat, which, you know, that's the lure, right? Like, these butterflies are clearly associated with Bel'Veth. They clearly serve her purpose. And then those butterflies come a little bit too close to the wall, and it all goes a little bit Bloodborne on us, where you can see these, these human arms that seem to poke out of it. But look at the fingers. Look what they're made of. The fingers themselves, too, are like seaweed. So it's like this living wall of human arms and seaweed like thing merged together in this weird, deeply fucked up construction. But I take the implication of this to be that it's not just buildings and rocks and stuff that fall to the bottom of the void and become incorporated into it. It's also living things. Like, for example, the human sailors who might have sailed on those boats. And here we get to see what the void is and what the void does. It consumes, it takes these things and rips anything that is beautiful apart and destroys, and just destroys. So what we're seeing here is like a very literal representation of what the void means to do to the rest of Runeterra, which is to pluck it apart and destroy it. And you just get this, boy, it's a large wall just made of arms. Real Bloodborne shit. Like, this goes a lot harder than I thought Riot actually had the guts to do with this one. And then, like, again, the visual metaphor continues. The void here personified in all these little void fish, which have been showing up in Kaisa's updated splash art as well. Like, bursting through like a swarm of consuming piranhas. And then we get the bait, right? Because then we get, like, here she is, Bel'Veth, very classically, oh, this is the evil queen archetype, like very with the big shoulder pauldrons and like the long dress and the imperious attitude. Like, so they're setting up the bait really, really hard right here. And she's also playing the part. Like, she is the Void Queen. She is playing that particular social role relative to Kaisa. With the interesting little animation choices, because look how she walks, right? Because she's not walking. She fucking isn't. All she's doing, she's just wiggling. She's just wiggling herself like that, like just wiggling the shoulder left and right, sort of vaguely mimicking how a human being might walk if it had legs, but not actually walking at all. She's just floating and pretending to do a walk. And it's really well animated because, like, it's just kind of, it looks weird and kind of silly, but it's also like, I don't know, maybe she just struts a lot. I don't know. Like, you sort of, instantly, you don't sort of go, oh, she's clearly not walking. You just go, oh, she's walking a little weird, I guess, but maybe that's just an animation thing. No. This is like, she doesn't know how to walk. She's just mimicking vaguely how she thinks humans might walk. And the same thing happens, I'm going to turn... The audio is going to be a little rough here, but pay attention to the lip sync on when she speaks and how her lips move. I will devour your world. Especially like the devour, right? Devour. Try and make the sound like the shape of a D in your mouth. Devour. Like, you kind of have to pull your lips back. You kind of have to, like, you get your tongue up behind your teeth. You pull your lips back a little bit. You show your teeth a little bit. She doesn't do that. Like, it's not just that the lips aren't moving in time with what she's saying. They're also not forming the syllables. They're not forming the vowels or the consonants that you need to produce those noises when you're speaking as a human being does. So again, much like how her walk is like just this vague imitation of how a human walks, her speech is just like this vague imitation of how humans flap their lips when they're talking. And I really like that. Like, that's, the animators do a really, really, really good job of giving her that, of selling the facade. Like, the fact that Bel'Veth doesn't actually quite know how to human. Now, one thing I do wish they hadn't done is put all this goddamn motion blur on the animation, because this is actually a really cool action scene, and I just don't think it comes across really well in actual motion, because they just kind of cut really quickly to this, where she just kind of slaps Kaisa over the face. And I feel like this could have been sold a lot better with some slightly clearer. Like, because you have the camera here that kind of pans after Kai'Sa and follows her. Then you get the cut when she jumps off the wall and starts firing. And then you get another cut from Bel'Veth's perspective. And then you cut to following the actual things as Bel'Veth teleports away. And then it's just Bel'Veth appears and Kai'Sa gets whacked in the face. And it's like, as battle choreography goes, it kind of sucks a little bit. I kind of wish they'd had a slightly longer confrontation, like that Kai'Sa had done more than one move before getting taken out. But I do appreciate the slap. Like, I think it's very, it's just like, whack! It's like... like, I think that's quite cute. And man, Kai'Sa just looks so much better in this short than she does in game, doesn't she? Like, she actually has a carapace that looks scary rather than a lycra body condom, which I think is nice. And that's when we bring the arms back, which is a little bit of setup and payoff, right? Like, we set up the arms, we'll grab anything that comes too close, so Kai'Sa gets whacked into the wall, yoink, arms grab, and then we get, yeah, good thing they didn't linger on that shot for too long. And then here, some very basic visual storytelling, right? Like, Bel'Veth does the whole teleportation thing, zoom, like the very sudden, like, zhoosh. And then, like, look at the visual storytelling here. Like, it's so basic, but, like, Kai'Sa is down here, restrained, held, looking up at this towering, overpowering presence that's literally looking down on her, right? Very basic visual storytelling, but it works really well for the purpose. And then this bit, like, again... deeply on some Bloodborne shit right here, with like the hands beginning like to peel back her face. But the interesting thing there is that there's a mirroring going on. Again, an imitation, because the hands peel back Kai'Sa's face, and then she peels back her own face, almost as though like she's doing a sort of there's a parallel being established between the two, right? Kai'Sa is a human being who looks like a void monster, and therefore everyone's afraid of her. At least, technically, that's what she's supposed to be. Like, that's her story, is that all human beings that meet her, like, are terrified of her because she's clearly a void monster, and they run away from... Like, never mind that she's actually just a hot lady in a skin-tight suit, and there's no plausible reason why anyone should be fucking scared of her. That's the problem with her character design, but that's the parallel that they're trying to establish, right? Like, that Kai'Sa is a human being in a void costume, and Bel'Veth is a void monster in a human costume. So like there's this little thematic parallel between the two. It's a clever little thing that they're doing, which also makes Bel'Veth the perfect villain for Kai'Sa. Because Bel'Veth is a void monster who can make human beings think that she's human. Like, who can convince human beings to see her as a savior or a queen or mind control them in some way. And Kai'Sa, on the other hand, is a human being who cannot make people stop thinking that she's a void monster. So thematically, and in terms of the visual storytelling and the character storytelling, Bel'Veth is a great villain for Kai'Sa. And it's a good parallel. Like, it's good thematic paralleling. If only Kai'Sa had a better character design. Like, if only Kai'Sa actually looked like a scary void monster and not just fucking Scarlett Johansson in a spandex bodysuit. That would be great. It would be fantastic. But only half of this duo have good character designs, so... oh, good grief, there's like 5,000 people here. What the fuck? Oh, I went off on a talkie thing, and I forgot to keep... oh, God, have there been any super chats? I have to... okay. Oh, fuck, there's been some. Okay, Duck My Sick, thank you. John Ligon, here's a little support before I head to work. Mr. Sky, and can't wait to watch the rest when I get home later. Have a nice day, everyone. Thank you. Abyssal Horror, yes, Skyverything, you're absolutely right. If Belle is everything the Void has eaten, is she Cho's daughter then? Don't know. Cho'Gath needs an update really badly. Right now, he essentially doesn't have any lore. So... who the fuck knows? We don't know how Cho'Gath relates to her, but I do hope that they give him an update. Diana Hatter, I see the One Reborn found a new home. Yeah, it's that same kind of thing, like this big cluster of just disconnected limbs. Nick K, yes, I was just about to say that this feels the closest to Bloodborne vibes we're gonna get in Runeterra. Oh yeah, like, absolute, like, if they want to do a Souls, like a Bloodborne, like, spin-off game in Riot Forge that's set in the Void, I'm absolutely down for that. Derek Casagrande, in a meeting at work, so I'll have to catch this breakdown later, but I wanted to say thanks for the content and have a lovely day. Thank you. And then Gren Smito, completely normal ADC experience. Yeah. Getting slapped down. Absolutely. Okay, that was a super chat. Thank you. Hi, I keep forgetting that this is a stream somehow. So in terms of like the visual storytelling that's being done here, and what's being set up, it works really well. Like in concept and mostly in execution, this is a really good way to introduce a villain. And something I've talked about in other videos before, not so much, is the concept of vagina dentata, which I won't show any images of that here because I'll get banned from YouTube. But basically, yonic imagery is what it's called. Yonic, when it's like a vertical slit that opens sideways, and like it's like a consuming opening thing that that's known as yonic imagery. And Bel'Veth has that in her mouth a little bit, with this motherly figure character who opens a slit on the front of her that rather than birth life consumes it. Yeah, that's a classic sort of subversion of the life-giving mother, is the consuming mother. So like that's part of her character design as well, is that like she's the horror version of that kind of character. So as people are saying in chat, yes, Voidusi confirmed. Like that is, I'm sure Riot will never say that because they can't, but that's what they are doing. Like when you have that vertical slit that opens up in that way with the teeth all around it, that is vagina dentata imagery, and that goes back a long way in art history, and it is always like used as a way of like presenting like the female body, as it were, air quotes around that, as like a monstrous consuming beast, right? Like that's classic horror imagery, and they're using it here. But the other thing I want to draw your attention to is, you see those structures in there? You see that those weird sort of circular structures that they've got going on? Let me find an image for you. Don't worry, stay for work. Don't report me to YouTube. It's on the regions, on the voids. Where are you? Where is it? There it is. And oh no, don't go for the there. You see that? These are the structures that are associated with the void in a lot of the visual storytelling that Riot does around the void. We have these like weird sort of interlocking spirals with these crisscrossing like structures that sort of go between them. That's been a sort of part of the visual hallmark of the void Riot has been working with for a good long while. And those are present also inside the consuming maw of Bel'Veth herself, which I take to mean that this mouth doesn't really go into her body. This is like a portal. It's a consuming portal mouth that absorbs more things and dumps them in the deep dark of the void, where she then somehow can draw power from them, something along those lines. So like, this is not a mouth, this is actually a portal, is what I think is going on here. So, remember back at the start of the stream, if you have not seen Bel'Veth's splash art, don't go look at it yet. Just hang on for a second, because I'm going to show it to you now. Here it is. That's what the splash art looks like. Except, that's what the splash art looks like. And what I want to know from you, is, without the head, like when the head wasn't there, did you immediately identify that as a human form? Did you immediately identify, oh, that's definitely a human form without a head? Because I think people probably don't. For the most part. But now that you have seen the human head on it, now that you've seen like, oh, there's the hips, there are the thighs, that's the thing. And I take the head away, you still see the legs and the waist and the chest, right? Okay, it's really hard to see what chat is saying because it's going so fast. But I think that's the intention of the splash art. The intention of the splash art is to mess with what is known as pareidolia. Pareidolia is the human tendency to see faces in things, right? Which we can demonstrate very aptly just with an image Google search. This is pareidolia, right? Like you see all these things and you go, ha, that's a human face, that's a person. And that's because the human brain is programmed to look for the human form. Like, it's programmed to look for humanity in everything. That's part of how our brains are designed as social mammals, is we see faces in everything. That's why smiley faces work. So with just the head up here, this thing, this like weirdly shaped body, like these weird billowing things on the front of the thing, it becomes legs, it becomes the waist, this becomes a chest that is thrust out forward in a sort of imperious, queenly, regal manner. But if you don't get the head to sort of tell your brain to, oh, look for the human body here, look for the human shape, it doesn't really automatically see the human body immediately, right? Like, you kind of need your brain to be told to look for the pattern. So I think, like, and this is the thing about this splash art, this this splash art is Riot having their cake and eating it too. Like, that's what they're doing with Bel'Veth. They're trying to have their cake and eat it too, like, quite a bit, because they still want to have the sexy Void Mommy. They still want to have the champion where they can put, like, the hot skins on it and put out the splash arts where she looks all sexy and cute and hot, because their data says, oh, well, players are more likely to buy that, which, fucking whatever. But they also want to say, no, she's a real Void Monster champion, definitely for real, even though, like... So it's a little bit of having your cake and eating it too, where the splash art, which is the main thing that most people are going to see of Bel'Veth when they are, like, deciding to buy her or not, that one, oh, no, she's in sexy human lady form in that one. Like, she's in big, giant Imperia's Void Queen form on this one. She's sexy, she's hot, she's not a monster. So, like, they're having their cake and eating it too a little bit, but generally speaking, I'm okay with it. Like, I'm okay with it because, like, I think there is a pareidolia trick being played here. I think they are doing the thing where, look, it's a legit monster, but they're kind of tricking you a little bit into seeing her as sexy. And that matches her character, right? Like, it matches the character that you are sort of tricked into seeing this gorgeous human form where actually you've got, like, teeth and a mouth, like, opening up that's just waiting to consume you. And you can kind of see that happening even in the storytelling of the splash art, right? Like, you have this human here who's, like, looking up at her. Oh my god, your ass is fat. What are your pronouns? Like, you can see that he's distracted, right? Like, he's trying to smash, and then from the side you can see the claws coming, right? Like, like, in the splash art, she's using the look as a distraction, right? To trick him, to murder him. Like, I think that's the that's the storytelling that's happening here. So, like, yeah, I think Riot managed to thread the needle. Like, I think they managed to do the thing of, like, okay, this, like, I could complain. I could be a lot more critical. I could say, oh, you couldn't just give us a pure monster champion. You just had to make it a hot lady. I could complain. But I don't want to, because I think it works. Like, I genuinely think it works. I think it gets there. It does the thing that it's supposed to do. And I think with the storytelling of the anglerfish, like with the storytelling of, like, she's this monster that is masquerading as something that is not monstrous, like that's masquerading as a queen, that's masquerading as domineering mother figure kind of thing. Yeah, okay, fine. You managed it, right? And, like, if they didn't have this long history, Kaisa, of putting out, like, sexy characters where the sexiness is completely superfluous and doesn't matter and doesn't add anything to the storytelling and doesn't do anything for the character, I wouldn't be so, like, you can tell I'm kind of being suspicious, right? Like, you can tell I'm kind of being like, like, you're having your cake and eating it too, and I want to criticize you. You can tell I'm doing that, and that's because they have that history of being so, like, just of defaulting to sexy for no goddamn reason, even when it doesn't do anything. But no, I have to give it to them. Like, I have to hand it to them. They did it right. This is a good character design. There is good character design storytelling happening here. I have to surrender to them. I have to give it up. They managed to do it. They got me. I really want to see her animation now. I really want to see her animation. I want to see how she behaves in game. I want to see how they handle the transformation between monstrous and beautiful. But no, yeah, they did it. They got me. I can't call it bad. I can't. It works on me. I think it is good. Okay, there's been some super chats. Let me just try and catch up. I'm out of tea. Let me just catch up with those. Oh, good. Good lord, there's been a lot. Okay, Yaroslav Chichvarkin. I really want some Lovecraft-inspired champions other than Vel'Koz. Yeah, like, it would be nice to have a little bit more of the sort of... But, like, you kind of get that a little bit with Bel'Veth. A little bit. Like, there's a little bit of that Bloodborne-y vibe to her, especially when her head is a flower. Like, I'd say this qualifies. Your comparison to Bloodborne is especially apt, given that Bloodborne's visual design is heavily inspired by the humanoid aqualife and other motifs of Lovecraft. Yeah, like that's... Everyone is scared of the deep sea because the deep sea is evil and it wants to destroy us all. So that's correct. Bench, mistimed my earlier super chat so you get more chrono. Oh, thank you. That's very kind of you. Benji Bananas, the initial part of the trailer baited me so hard. I was looking forward to your take. Happy to catch your stream. Love your bits. Thank you. Niras25, decapitation. Yeah. Cut her head off. Brax to the max. I like the concept, but I have to admit that her body, especially in monster form, looks really weird. It makes me wonder how she's going to animate in-game. I'm especially curious of her attacks. Me too. I'm really curious how she looks in-game and how they handle her. So these themes of purple and blue aren't present in every Void champion, should they? Yes. Like, that's the thing, is like with the Void champions, they are so, like... Cho'Gath is 12 years old. Kog'Maw is, what is he, 10? Like, he's a pretty old champion. The Void in the early days was very poorly defined. It didn't have an aesthetic. It was just like monster that looks alien-ish. Kind of just shove it in the Void category. And blah, blah, blah. Don't worry about it. Like, that's why Kha'Zix is literally the alien and a praying mantis, right? Like, that's literally why they do that alien predator thing. And so, like, the whole thing about unifying the looks of champions across regions, that's a recent thing. And because there hasn't been a Void champion in 12 billion years, most Void champions just look completely fucking random. Like it's only really, what, Vel'Koz and Kai'Sa that have, like, a coherent aesthetic with each other. So, you know, Diana had her. I shouldn't stick it in that. However, yeah, yeah. I'm sure the Rule 34 artists are way ahead of you. FFT 2003. There's nothing that can convince me after that animation that Bel'Veth isn't just two Void monsters in a raincoat. That would be a good skin for her, wouldn't it? Like, definitely not Bel'Veth kind of Halloween costume with like two kids in like a big raincoat. Matt Kenny, Void does he? Yes, Void. There's been a lot of that in chat. Bel'Veth is what Syra is supposed to be. Awkward. Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. Like, she's definitely a better execution of that. I think. Lagartico Loco 94. Surrendered to the Dommy Mommy confirmed. Hey now. Steady on. Thunderhead Cinema. It works, but it feels really bad to me that they spend all this time hyping up their next champion as a monster and then releasing a monster hybrid. Yeah, like, that's the thing about having your cake and eating it too, right? Like, a lot of us wanted a pure monster. Like, just not a anglerfish cosplaying as a sexy lady, just a monster. Like, it's kind of like, you know, that scene with SpongeBob and Patrick, like the lid. That's kind of what it feels like asking Riot for a monster champion these days. It's like, no, a monster, no, not a hot girl in spandex, a monster, Riot. That's a little bit what it's like. But this is again nice thing. They threaded the needle, right? They threaded the needle on it. Chicken Sea, the login screen music is going to be amazing. Even though she's not fully a monster, she's good enough. Yeah, that's kind of the vibe, isn't it? Like, it's good enough. It's not perfect, but it's good enough. Can't wait for the Evelyn interaction. Oh god, Duncan Wright, that would be gonna be interesting. Anyone else worried that the Manta form is going to be alt only and she's going to be queen mode 90% of the time? I hope not. That's why I'm interested to see her animation. Irregular 42. The same way we begrudgingly accept Samira being sexy because it totally works with her character, this one is potentially a step in the right direction. I'd say that's accurate. Pajama Guardian Bel'Veth, where it's the mom pretending to be a massive monster with a oh my god, Siren! You can't say that in a super chat. Now they can't do it. Oh, I want that. Oh, that would be amazing. Fuck, that would rule so hard. That would rule so hard. Shit. That's a really, really good idea. Someone draw that. You're gonna get thousands of retweets. I swear to God. Okay. Oh God, there's another super chat. Hey, Kale B, thank you. I don't know. I want to like it so badly, but I can't shake the feeling. Monster but hot lady gets 2 beaten by the last Fem champ. Greetings from Sil. Yeah, it's the thing, right? Like it's hard to trust Riot these days. It's hard to trust that they're doing a monster champion for real and not just trying to get away with a hot lady again. But you know that it's good enough. Have you seen her leak? No, I have not seen any of the leaks because I don't look at leaks. I have friends who work on these champions, you know, like people who work really hard and put in a lot of tough work to make these things cool, and build up the hype. And like, I feel like it would be a little shitty of me to sort of to make content and talk about leaks and stuff. Give us more cosmic horror, Rito. I'm hoping so. Like, I'm pleased with Bel'Veth. Now the other thing I wanted to talk about with her, good lord, there was a lot of super chats. Thank you all very much for the super chats, by the way. I know I'm sounding a little annoyed by that there's so many, but I'm genuinely grateful. It's just I'm not used to streaming for 4,900 people. The other thing I wanted to talk about is the imagery that they use with Bel'Veth. Like, we've talked about the deep sea imagery, right? Like, that's one part of it. The other part of what they use with her is the butterflies. And I'm actually kind of curious about those because, like, it's a little... Those are a little odd, aren't they? Because, like, everything else about Bel'Veth is deep ocean themed. But then there's the butterflies, which have shown up in her art, like, multiple times. And I'm like... I assume that they're associated with her, right? Like, I assume that they're somehow part of her abilities, somehow part of her ability to influence the void or whatever. But they seem so disconnected from all the deep ocean imagery, all the fish, all the, like, deep sea nonsense, the stingray, the anglerfish. And the only thing I can think of is, as some people are bringing up in chat, the only thing I can think of is the idea of like the caterpillar turning into a butterfly kind of thing, right? Like it's a transformation metaphor, which I feel like that's interesting. But again, like, I'm not really sure how it relates to her. Like, it seems like a weird mix to go for, because thematically it's hard to see the connection there. Like, outside of the fact that she has these big, expansive wings, I guess. So, curious. God, but, like, that peeling back animation. Like, that is good horror. Like, that's just good horror imagery right there. Like, imagine the feeling of, like, these unreal hands just grasping onto your face and peeling your skin back. Like, that's just good horror imagery. And the same thing, like, the face opening up is always good horror imagery. Opening up, like, the petals of a flower. It's just good shit. Another thing I like, you see, you know how we talked before about the structures of the void, right? Like these little ways that the void is structured. You can see those here as well in the way that Kaisa's suit clings onto her skin. You can see those little, like, sort of perforated hole structures are all over that as well. Which again is like the animators paying really close attention and making sure to get all the details right, which I really quite like. I'm trying to catch if they put any Easter egg references in anything. It is such a good reveal, though. Like, it genuinely is a very good reveal. Like, when the face opens up and then the eyes open and you get the true face of the creature, and it's just like she's 90% mouth, right? Like, she's a mouth with wings, essentially. She is a consuming void all on her own. Which, again, I think is pretty solid character design. Someone in chat at one point I saw brought up the Venomancer from Dota, and they were saying, oh, it's just a ripoff of the Venomancer from Dota. And, like, I don't really think so. Like, this is a snake. Like, this specifically is like a serpent. Like, the thing that they have in common is a shared visual language, which is like that mouth there, like the way that opens up. That's a style of mouth that's adapted from certain kinds of reptiles and like snakes and spiders. But they've both stolen that from the predator. Like that's where that comes from. Like That's where they get that. So no, it's not just the Venomancer. It's not just a ripoff of the Venomancer. These are different character designs. The Venomancer is based on a snake. This is clearly based on like a stingray. So I feel like that's a little bit silly to claim that that's some kind of a ripoff. Ugh. Let's see. Oh God, there's more super chats. Oh good lord. Oh hell. Tupper says Bel'Veth over Voidozy. Which, okay, I'll use that as a springboard. We know that Bel'Veth is not allied with Vel'Koz. Bel'Veth is a void entity of some kind that seems to have gained some kind of sapience on her own and is acting independently of the Watchers. Like, she's not interested in the Watchers and their plan and the thing that they want to do. She seems to want to dominate and like control the physical material world rather than just obliterate it, which might put her at odds with the Watchers who just want to wipe everything out. They just want all things to end and everything to stop because they're tired of it. Whereas she seems to want to eat everything. She seems to want to consume everything and make it part of her, make it her own. That seems to be the thing there. So yeah, there is a distinction between the rest of the Void and Bel'Veth, apparently. Sing to the Silence. I just wish we could have got more monster there. We already have an Imperious purple otherworldly dragon thing. The butterfly and boat are a Kaisa origin motif. Yeah, like the butterfly and boat feels more like it's related to Kaisa. It really does. I'm getting Godric vibes. Not so much for me, I think. And Salticus, maybe the butterflies are another disguise. Instead of her murder guppies, she uses butterflies to show that she's a peaceful, nice human. Yeah, that's plausible. That might be a thing. Okay, I need to sit down. I've been standing up this whole time. There we go. The lighting in this short is so pretty, says Spider's Face. Grüße aus Deutschland. Guten Tag. Or guten Abend. Rather. Kevin Yang, do you think she would be a good evil Star Guardian like Zoe? Oh yeah, like I would love it if Star Guardians used her to introduce like more like monsters into the Star Guardian line rather than just like humanoids in pretty costumes. That would be cool. The skins for her, like Mecha, Project Jurassic Goth, will be so amazing. Can't wait to see them. Yeah, I mean, I worry about how many skins she's gonna get. Because, like, they all have to account for the monster form. And usually, anytime Riot has to do a thing, like design a skin that works on multiple levels, that's more work. And they're less likely to do it, so who knows. Marcin Mazur says, some butterfly species are extremely carnivorous, also buddy of a bug versus bugs of Kaisa. Yeah. I hope the archetype won't get diluted, says Anbus Sundar. I love the cinematic. Cosmic horror is notoriously hard to portray lip sync good. The design is decent, but still. Yeah, I mean, I don't think she's gonna look much like a cosmic horror in game. Like they're gonna stylize and smooth her down, and she's gonna look like more of a cartoon character like all the other champions do. Let's see. Colin, can't stay for the stream, but hoping this CG is gonna lead to Kassadin and Kaisa finally resolving their dynamic. Also hoping her friendship with Talia isn't abandoned. They were cute together. Yeah, that's the thing is like, it kind of seems like they're teasing that Kassadin and Kaisa are finally going to have a reunion at some point, and it's going to happen because Kaisa gets mind controlled by Bel'Veth, and then Kassadin has to snap her out of it somehow. Something along those lines. You speak German? Nein, ich spreche nicht gut Deutsch. Ich spreche ein bisschen, aber es ist nicht gut. Let's see. Owen Trubbick, I know Arcane is going to Noxus. Do you think there's any clean way to add the Void? I mean, they've already got it. The Void is Victor. He like his Arcane cube thing. That's the Void. Like that's instead of being Hextech signs, that's the Void that's being introduced there. So the Void is there already. That's gonna come through Victor. Where I grew up, butterflies were associated with death, kind of like the comfort after loss. Yeah, Asa, that's true. Like, they have an association with death. It's just that she doesn't. Like, Bel'Veth, as a character, she's really not about death. Like, she's not really a death imagery. She's more of an obliteration imagery. Like, she's about the fear of being consumed, which is not quite the same as the fear of mortality, right? Like, the fear of dying is not quite the same as the fear of being murdered. The fear of being murdered is like, oh my god, this is going to be painful and suffering, and then I'm going to end. The fear of dying is the fear of like feeling your selfhood and your individuality slip away, and like your consciousness self-obliterate, and then like there's nothing but a dark void which you will not perceive. It's not quite the same thing. God, God damn it, my list of super chats keeps resetting, so it's hard to. Oh, and let's see. Dark Harp Pro sent me a super chat and didn't say anything, but thank you. Can you touch on her relationship to Malzahar, Preston Root? Yeah, I mean, apparently Bel'Veth is the one who corrupted Malzahar. Like, she's the one who called him into the desert. She's the one who gave him visions of the void, and she's the one who made him do all the things that he does. He is her prophet specifically, and disassociated from the rest of the void. And the interesting thing is, the only lore that Kog'Maw has, like the only lore that he has, is that he is looking for Malzahar. Kog'Maw wants to find Malzahar because of something. We don't know why. He just wants to. He's just looking for Malzahar, constantly tracking him by his like scent, magic scent or whatever. And if Malzahar is associated with Bel'Veth, and Bel'Veth is opposed to the general void, maybe Kog'Maw is kind of an assassin that's being sent to destroy Malzahar. Like, I don't know. I kind of hope that they give him a little bit of lore and expand on the relationship of the various void characters to each other. Apollo, I just realized both Kai'Sa and Bel'Veth have 5-petal opening mask, but Bel'Veth's is flipped vertically. Kai'Sa's center petal versus Bel'Veth's bottom. Yeah, like they're mirrored. They're mirror versions of each other. And Yaroslav Chirchvakian saying Coven Bel'Veth. Yes, I've already breached that. Coven Bel'Veth would be awesome. I think that would be an absolutely fucking amazing skin. Let's see. Dimas Sagwe sent 100 of something I don't know what it is, and said, I think the butterfly is a symbol for something else we don't know yet. The void seems to be eating those, and they really seem out of theme from Bel'Veth. I think it's a symbol of hope somehow. Yeah, that's the thing is, like, it's... Because what the butterflies are doing, they are like the only void entities down here that aren't destructive, right? Like, they're not destroying this ship. They're just picking it up and flying around with it. They're sort of like, they seem, on the face of it, kind of benevolent and beautiful and non-hostile, but... And they also seem to be something that the void wants to consume. Like, normally the void only consumes living things, right? It consumes life. But if these are void butterflies, why would it do that? Like, why is it? So, like, I'm not sure. It might be that the void butterflies are teasing something. Like, they might be associated with another character than Bel'Veth and might be teasing it. Maybe it's Nora. No, it's not. But no, yeah, like there might be something there to it. Luigi Liza, I like 2 eyes and 1 long eye for asymmetry. Yeah, that's the other thing. Like one criticism I do have is that Bel'Veth's character design, interestingly, like when she's in her queen form, she's not perfectly symmetrical. Like she has the thing drooping down on one side and like the collar stuff going on. But in her monster form, she is perfectly symmetrical. And I agree, I would like a little bit of asymmetry. Like, I would like her to be a little bit more lopsided and kind of misshapen and weird, rather than have this perfect symmetry across the line. Like, symmetry is also uncanny. Perfect symmetry can also look weird, but I think asymmetry is, like, more monstrous and weird. So, like, that might be a way to make her a more interesting character design than she is. I saw a fan art of Crime Nightmare Bel'Veth on Surrender at 20 comments, and now I want it. Also, hi, Sky, and have $5. Thank you, Arthur the Explorer. And, oh god, Samma Samson says, maybe they're moths to the flame or symbolize death or souls. Yeah, I don't know. Ethanatos sends a super chat without saying anything. Thank you. Good night. Bel'Veth reminds me of an anglerfish. Yeah, that's very much what she is. Like, that's what her character design is specifically designed to invoke. Scalibor Macalcium sends 50 Swedish krona and says, I think a vampire skin would be interesting. She'd become a giant bat instead of a giant monster manta. That would be cool. Monarch Bel'Veth skin when? Make her a butterfly. Yeah, that it's like Kog'Maw. Yeah, she could be the companion piece to Monarch Kog'Maw. That would be awesome. That would be cute. Do you think because Bel'Veth is the queen, Kog'Maw's dad that he mentions could be the king? I don't think Kog'Maw has a dad as such. I don't think his voice lines mean anything, but that would be funny. Thank you, Chicken C. Hoping Jax plays a big part in this event. Whatever it ends up being, the last light of Icathia has been out very out of the story for a while. Yeah, Noah Abbott. And that's kind of the assumption that everyone has, is that with Bel'Veth, Riot are going to make a push to sort of integrate. Like, they're going to update Cho'Gath, they're going to update Kokmaw, they're going to give Jax a proper narrative, like, they're going to do something with Zillion. Like, the hope among all the League of Legends fans and the content creators have been that they're going to use Bel'Veth as an excuse to do some goddamn Void-related something or other. Like, that they're actually going to follow up on the storylines, that they're actually going to have Jax, like, gather up his strike force of elite warriors and strike back at a Void invasion or something. I don't have super high hopes, because historically Riot are bad at doing that. They're really bad at doing that. They're extremely bad at doing it. Like, they like to leave their plot threads dangling for years and years and years and years. But it would be cool. I'd like it to happen. Don't have a lot of hope of it, though. Let's see. Joshua Rodriguez. I'm worried that the Void event lacks enough characters the previous events had, and so I hope that they add more Void characters. Yeah, I mean, the Void event as such, it's not going to be anything like Spirit Blossom or Sentinels of Light. Like, I would control my excitement on that one. If there is a Void event as such, it's going to be some in-game missions and some lore drops. It's not going to be an actual, like, there's no visual novel or anything like that. That's not going to be happening. Riot Fofox. I don't know if that's an actual rioter, but hello. Love your breakdowns. You nail so many of the themes and decisions. Well, thank you. That's very kind of you. E. Thanatos. What if the legend of Bel'Veth is the reason why people fear Kai'Sa? She's a void monster that mimics a woman. Yeah, I mean, that's not in her story. In her story, she's a void monster who people are scared of, because, like, they're scared of her because she looks like a void monster. Ostensibly. Like, theoretically, technically, apparently. Apparently, she's a very scary void monster who looks like a scary monster and not just a human in a suit. But, you know. Let's see. Black Pearls. Time for my crappy theory. The butterflies could be Kai'Sa's brood, but she doesn't know it. Oh, as in, you think she has, like, she might be able to control void monsters herself, but she doesn't realize it? That might be interesting. Let's see. McChungle. I think it's cool when her head opens up, her eyes are still sitting there like fish in an anemone. Yeah. It is very, very cool. It like the whole, like, the head opening up thing is like, yeah, like, that's the moment when you know, okay, like, they actually did do something weird and scary and monstrous. They actually did do a monster, right? Like, instead of just copping out on it. Oh shit, I'm getting a thing on. Hang on. Wait a minute. Sorry, I need to... There's a thing that I need to look at right now. What's happening here? Sure. Give me a sec. I'm being asked if I want to be on a call with Nick Crit and... Ooh, her color story is out. Oh, and of course it's Jarrett. Of course it's Jarrett. Jarrett wrote it. Jarrett Rosen. I knew that he was going to be the point man on this one. Okay, her color story is out. That means we can read it. Pinwheel by Jarrett Rosen. Let's see if I can't... God, it's become so difficult to get a hold of the goddamn... splash art? Is that the... No, that's the share image. That's not the one I want. There it is. Give me a sec. Just doing some things. There we go. That's what she looks like in the splash art. Like, and that's what we want, right? Like, not in queen mode, but doing big scary void monster things. That's what we want out of her. And like, clearly the artist for the story art understood the assignment. All right. My voice is a little rough on the edges, but I'll try and read this one for you. Okay. Kai'Sa pants, looking up at the shape growing in front of, above, and simultaneously all around her. The monster's wings spread 20 arms lengths in every direction, dominating her field of vision. Not that Kai'Sa has a choice where to look with a half-dozen ambulatory human arms holding her head against the wall. The creature's mass continues to expand and fills the ocean of nightmares it calls home, each glistening tooth now the size of a grown adult, and getting bigger. Its four predatory eyes gazed down at Kaiser with cold dispassion, possibly hunger. At this scale, it's hard to tell. She liked it better when it was person-shaped. Need to... Okay, what's the thing? Okay, I keep getting notifications for things. Okay, she repeats. She can't move her armor, which is frozen in a sort of paralytic awe. The suit is a parasite, and one of the more base creatures the void can spit out. Is awe even something he can feel? Either way, her body is stuck in place. Unless something dramatic changes, this is probably the end. Kaisa's mind ticks through a few last-ditch efforts. Firing her cannons backward into the wall, firing him into this thing's mouth, jaws. She remembers how fast the monster is and how big it is. Fast and big. Fantastic. Last ditch might not amount for much, and Kaiser would definitely die, but it would at least be something. She could make it hurt. My true self displeases you, it speaks, much too calmly. Its voice is so loud it rattles the entire space, knocking hideous patchwork geometry loose as thousands of void remora pour out from the jagged holes. It is a voice that bends and contracts, whispers and screams. The layers continue without end, an aria sung not by one voice but by millions. Kaiser's eyes widen with realization. That's where all the people went. I was right! Called it! She eats people and she absorbs them. Ha-ha! The void had torn through the now very former city of Bel'Veth in under an hour. Kaiser hadn't been able to make it in time, and the once bustling metropolis was gone. Everything, everyone. What remained now resembled a giant glowing crater of shattered pieces rearranging into something unrecognizably alien. The structure shifting as if to recreate frozen creature shapes, frozen humanoid shapes, like a child setting up a toy town. But where had the people gone? The Vestaya, are they not people? The animals and plants. She'd fought her way through the shattered city and into the tunnels at the center of the empty bay, seeing no sign of anyone, only fresh void-born horrors like mile-high iridescent tentacles and masses she'd been thinking of as balls of screaming torsos. It didn't make any sense. The remains of a void attack aren't pretty, but usually there's something left. Now she knows why. You are the city, Kaiser spits through the reverberating wall of sound. Bel'Veth is you. Yes, says Bel'Veth, gently undulating its, her, wings. The raw components of their lives served as genesis for my birth, memories, emotions, history. I am as much Bel'Veth as they were, and I claim the title as my own. Bel'Veth's titanic body bristles. Golden beams gently dapple the light above her ray-like form, framing the void sea's false sun like the rings of a dying world. New flesh breathes as it ripples against the facsimile of a tidal current, veins briefly illuminated before pulling themselves away from the surface of the monster's skin, each somehow alive and independent, nations unto themselves. Schools of void remora in the tens of thousands swim around their empress like birds circling the peak of a distant mountain. It's beautiful, in a way. If the void had a god, this is what it would look like. Hideous and monstrous and beautiful. Kaiser is so struck by the enormity of what she's witnessing that she doesn't fully realize when the arms on the wall have not just let her go, but lowered her to the ground. It's hard to take in everything at once. It shows its own name, she thinks, reflexively brushing a stray void hand from her shoulder. That's not possible. Void entities do not name themselves. Most, like the Cersei, are named after concepts from Shiriman history, usually by those fortunate enough or unfortunate enough to survive after encountering one of the monsters out in the dunes. They don't have the presence of mind to do it or the self-awareness. But more importantly, Voidborn do not see the value in names. They are an invention of the living world and they don't want them. So why does she? I'll fight you, says Kaiser, defiant but unsure of what to do or where to strike. I'll kill you. You will not, reply the many voices of Bel'Veth. You are incapable of resistance at even its basest form. Others have come before you, in the age before my birth. Each would-be hero wielding weapons they believed would repel the void, but all were ultimately consumed. The meager fragments that remained, if they remained at all, served as salt for the Lavender Sea. Only 2 still live, and of them only you retain your full mind. 2. You and your father. Called it! Kassadin reunion, baby! Called it. Absolutely called it. She doesn't know about Jax, apparently. Something sinks in the center of Kaisa's chest. Her thoughts spin wildly, verging on the edge of panic, but for now she has to stay focused on this moment. There's no trusting whatever the Empress is. It's a living abomination, the personified concept of unfeeling global genocide. You're lying, Kaisa seethes. That's not even possible. I do not lie, Kaisa, the Empress continues. I have no need. The Void's eventual triumph is an unshifting absolute. It demands no lies, half-truths, or questions. Open your mind and I will show you. Space contracts. Bel'Veth's gigantic body pulls and distorts, retracting into a smaller and now more recognizable shape. She floats silently downward, looming over Kaisa as tendrils and eye stalks rearrange to form the oblong, segmented pretender of a human head. Bel'Veth's two faces observe her audience before the creature cloaks herself in her wings, appearing once more as a towering woman of great importance. The shrinking is much more disgusting than the growing, Kaisa decides. It lacks the gravitas of the Leviathan's grand unveiling while still looking and sounding creatively grotesque. You are alive because I allow you to live, speaks the Empress now from her human head with its deep, perpetually disappointed voice. You should have realized this by now. Kaisa wants to argue the point, but quickly glances at the 20-meter gash in the ground, where a single strike had sent her careening only moments before. Bel'Veth hit so fast that Kaisa wasn't even able to process what had happened, and then the Empress had mutated her proportions over 200 times their original size in under a minute. She also, presumably, controls the undulating pocket of living hell, this so-called lavender sea she's surrounded by. Not the time to pick a fight. Kaisa does some quick calculations in her head, her eyes darting around as she tries to figure out what she's actually up against. Bel'Veth's human face twitches with interest, curls its lips, then begins mimicking her. Kaisa already knows she's lost. How fast can one person think? How fast can they react? Up against all that combined human biology, all that brain power. Okay, that's not how brains work. That's not... having more brains does not make you think faster. Just gonna put that out there. In the time it takes even a skilled tactician to formulate a plan, hundreds of millions of possibilities run through Bel'Veth's mind in the span of a single second as she draws from the stolen memories of everything and everyone that has ever passed through the old city. An incalculable number of lives. Yeah, but that also means she has to have a lot more information processing, which needs to be central. It doesn't matter. Anyway, it's a void monster. It doesn't matter. But just like, if you hooked another brain up to yours, you wouldn't get faster at thinking. Just saying. Every captive opponent faced with an overwhelming enemy since the formation of Runeterra could be snapping in and out of this thing's synaptic awareness, their emotions catalogued, dissected, endlessly fascinated over before Kaisa can even blink. So what happens now, Kaisa allows. What is one answer when your opponent has 1,000? You will follow, says the Empress, turning and floating through patches of thick mutant coral as they bow respectfully out of her way. Kaisa pauses, watching her host glide silently through the chaotic mess of partial buildings, ghostly limbs, sewn together semi-objects and pearlescent structures in the crude likeness of human beings walking through a garden. Great, she thinks. Even by void standards, this is weird. You may ask whatever you like, Bel'Veth asks. That last part gets Kaisa's attention. Right, well, first question, what are you? Queries Kaisa, her armor now relaxed and mobile as she follows from a safe distance. She brushes aside a floating teddy bear fused with a dozen flapping gull wings and stifles her impulse to gag as the creature struggles against its own lopsided weight. What is all this? What part of the void do you come from? I am the void, replies Bel'Veth, and this is what we will become. Kaisa stammers, but you said you were created from people, the city. You're saying you want to become the city? No, says Bel'Veth. The void has existed for millennia. Before the first stars were kindled in the emptiness beyond this world, we simply were. Perfect, singular, and silent. And then there came the sound. Reality was born from those whispers, and it consumed us. We were twisted by its influence, broken, transformed. We could not go back to what we were, no matter how we struggled. My progenitors, the Watchers, attempted to invade and destroy existence, but they were tainted by it, driven to desire worship, to gain a greater understanding. And in an instant, they were betrayed. To change so forcefully, so completely, only to be cast aside, it filled them with an indescribable hatred. They would annihilate all of reality without a second thought. So that would be referencing the betrayal of Lysandra at the very last moments of the war with the three sisters, where Lysandra seals them into the abyss, and they get real pissed about that, apparently. Bel'Veth glides to a precipice overlooking a tremendous chasm. Far above, Kaisa sees massive holes beyond the dapple faux sunlight. Voidborn tunnels. That's what's eating Talia's people, what destroyed Bel'Veth, and what opened up to swallow the tent city in southeast Shurima. Everything the void devours ends up here. But, Bel'Veth continues, their metamorphosis was incomplete. Only now is the true transformation beginning, declares the Empress. I don't want to become one city. We will become all of you. Kaisa reaches the pinnacle of the precipice and gasps. She and Bel'Veth are gazing upon not quite a city, but void corals shaped into a bizarre, seemingly endless tapestry of inverted Shuriman-style buildings. Void remora school among them, and dark shapes shift along winding crooked streets. Nothing is right, nothing is correct. It's all half-finished, like there's not enough information to go on, like all it needs is... No! Kaisa protests almost to herself. The void wants to erase everything. It can't exist. To finish this, you'd need everything. Yes, replies Bel'Veth. Everything. I am the void. I will sup upon your world until there is nothing left, and I will exist, because there's nothing you can do that will stop me. The Empress turns to Kaisa coldly, purposefully. I offer you this, daughter of the void. Your world must end for the sake of mine, but those who came before us, the Watchers, I am an affront to them. Creation burns them, and they will destroy you and me and everything to stop that pain. Should they escape their prison, there will be no breaking their tide. Time will come to a close, and all things will end. Kaisa stares Bel'Veth in her false eyes, a grim defiance spreading through her. You want to wipe us out. Why would I ever help you do that? Aid me in the destruction of the Watchers, and I will spare your kind. For a moment. A month, a year, more. Perhaps in that time you will find a weapon that can slay me, or a hero that can face me. You will not, but you can try. I offer one chance. It is more than they will give you. Kaisa's rage boils over as Bel'Veth turns away to look below, the Empress watching her new world take shape. What if I don't want to? Growls Kaisa. What if I kill you here? You cannot, says Bel'Veth. You lack the will, the knowledge, and the strength. I am your only salvation. Kaisa's armor shudders violently to life, its jets heating as the suit shivers with fear. Kaisa tries to control it with her thoughts, but the parasite seemingly knows something she does not. She attempts to wrestle away control, her eyes turning from Bel'Veth for only a moment in order to... Oh no. The razor-sharp tip of the Empress's wings jabs Kaisa in the chest, lifting her off the ground as she struggles to break free. Kaisa fires everything she has. Missiles rain down on the Empress. Bolts of searing purple energy scream toward her body, and beams of light that have torn Nilissa Voidborn in half dance across her semi-transparent skin. Nothing. No effect. Daughter of the Void, you will find the Watchers and confirm the truth, or your light will be snuffed out side by side with all others. This is not a threat. It is my promise. Bel'Veth releases her grip and Kaisa rockets into the false sky above Bel'Veth's alien sea. The twin city of lavender glitters below, its windows slick with bioluminescence and tumbling, unformed, awful things. As Kaisa blasts through one of the Voidborn tunnels into the blinding light of the day, the Empress turns away, gazing once more over her world of want. Kaisa bursts through the sands of southern Shurima, slamming hard against the dunes as she heaves, her entire body pulled and tossed like a rubber ball. The glowing husk of the city of Bel'Veth smolders quietly in the distance, devoid of any recognizable life as new things skitter through it and build the land that would spread over everything. A cancer that would consume the world. The entire display is dizzyingly awful, as all of reality is spinning violently in the wind. Oh, she has a bio as well. Well, let's just continue on with that one, and then we'll talk about all the stuff I've just said. Fascinated by the world of existence and eager to create one for herself, Bel'Veth is like a dark cancer that has metastasized within the heart of the void, through which all of Runeterra will be consumed and rebuilt in her own twisted image. She hungers for new experiences, memories, and concepts in vast amounts, devouring whole cities and their populations before repurposing the information into a sprawling alien landscape known as the Lavender Sea. Yet even the void is not safe from her voracity as she spreads within it like a primordial ocean, forcing all before her to submit to her world of want or be destroyed. Though Bel'Veth is new to Runeterra, her birth is untold millennia in the making, the end result of an allergic reaction between the void and a nascent reality. The once pristine dimension of peaceful nothingness was irrevocably shattered when existence came into being, and forcefully individualized void entities lashed out for eons in an attempt to defend themselves from the shock and pain. Erasing everything they consumed, they were named by virtue of what they left behind, a void. But the beings within were changed each time they touched the world, mutating from their once perfect form into hedonistic, violent animals. So too did the void change with them. After every battle, every incursion, something more sinister grew deep within a hidden womb inside the darkest recesses of the void-born tunnels. Building, sunlight, proto-humanoid limbs reaching toward nothing, a jigsaw puzzle where none of the pieces fit. The void had taken a new hideous shape, in time fueled by both humans opening rifts for war and the Watchers attempting to invade the Freljord. This blasphemous pocket of uncreation grew to embrace the opposites of the old void: desire, want, and need. Soon enough, it craved a leader. Someone or something who could write a horrific new chapter in the worlds above and below. A leader who could interface with these humans, tell them of what was to come, and harvest their emotions and memories as they fought a bitter, fruitless war until the last fires of civilization died and a new era spawned. This leader is Bel'Veth, a terrifying empress born from the combined memories, experiences, and emotions of an entire devoured port city and its outlying ocean. Bel'Veth's mind contains millions of years of perfectly preserved knowledge, giving her near omniscience as she prepares to destroy both Runeterra and the domain of her progenitors, the Watchers. To those lucky enough to be of strategic value to her, she does not lie, ask questions, nor obfuscate the truth. She simply states the nature of things, for with victory, all but assured thanks to the very nature of the void itself, there is no need to say anything more. And to those who displease her, they will find her human form to be merely adaptational, nerve endings, muscles, and eye stalks, as she unfurls her titanic wings to reveal her true monstrous figure. Ironically, the ancient Shrimans had a word for such a concept. Loosely translated to God of Oblivion, it was a tribal myth of a remorseless deity who would erase all things without hatred, replacing them with itself. They named the city of Bel'Veth after it, though the true meaning was lost after many hundreds of years. Lost to all, perhaps, save for the creature that the city has become. Yeah. Okay. Right. Interesting. So, this is like an evolution of stuff that they've already been setting up about the Void previously. Because we've already seen, like, the Void, that whole story we were told about how the Void came into being, that's been part of the lore for a long time. Like, there was nothing, then there was creation, and the Void was like, oh god, fuck, it's so loud, turn it down, Jesus, and tried to destroy it. And here we then see the next progression from that. Like, Vel'Koz already showed signs of this, right? Like, he already showed signs that he was not really interested in destroying the world. He was obsessed with cataloging it. He wanted to know everything. He desired all knowledge. So, like, there was already sort of this hint towards the Void being affected by the world, by reality. And then that is coming very much, like, completely to a head with Bel'Veth herself, who seems to be, like, the purest expression of that. And she sees herself as, like, the final evolution, the inevitable outcome. Like, yes, I am the thing that the Void will become. Like, she has this she is an empress, like, she believes in the infallibility of her own empire. But as she also revealed to Kaisa, she's terrified of the Watchers. Like, she's powerful, but she's not that powerful. She's not strong enough to take them on. She's not strong enough to undo the Void itself. She needs someone else to do that for her. Which tells us also that, like, for all that she's confident in her own power, like, she's confident that no one can destroy her, no one has the weapons, no one has the ability to do it, she's also vulnerable because she underestimates humans pretty fatally. And presumably, like, if there ever is a conclusion to her story, it'll be that, like, Cillian and Jax and Lysandra and Kaisa and Kassadin and a bunch of other champions find some way to undo her, right? Like, that'll be the sort of natural progression and endpoint of her story, is that, yeah, like, sorry, lady, but, like, dumbass, they found a way to deal with the Watchers. They found a way to deal with you too. A fed vein can take her on, says someone in chat. Yeah, probably, you know, like, like, she's like, I am the Empress of the Void. She goes onto Summoner's Rift and immediately goes 0-15. Yeah. I am drinking water, Vivi. Don't worry about that. Water is not going to change anything about my voice right now. You're real? I thought you were only on shorts. I'm on shorts most of the time. I've had a long break because I've been sick. But okay, there's been some more super chat that I didn't see while I was reading the stories. Let's see. I think the butterflies are meant to represent memories, says Skullhead Soldiers. That's why they're shaped like a child's toy ship at the start. Kevin Yang, do you think a story with some demons like Fiddlesticks or Evelyn battle her because she threatened their home victims? I mean, that's sort of the thing, is like, the way that the Void is written in League of Legends lore is that eventually everyone has to fight them. Like, eventually everyone has to deal with them. Like, even Mordekaiser, who's like building a realm of death, needs to deal with the Void because the Void would wipe out his spiritual realm of dominance, right? So eventually everyone, including Fiddlesticks, including Evelyn, including Tom Kent, like all of them have to fight the Void on some level because the Void would unmake them and eradicate them from existence and also eradicate their prey. So like, and I've always thought that like insofar as there's ever going to be an end to the Void storyline, that's going to be what it is. Like, it's going to be the whole big, like, last alliance of elves and men marching on Sauron kind of thing, where everyone comes together to beat the Void because they have to. But I would assume that that's, like, we're never going to see that actually happen, because that would require League of Legends to end its story, which it's never going to do. Battlecast Bel'Veth would be weird, but also nice. Yeah, Battlecast would be a natural fit for a skin for her, Alexidia Andrade. Thank you for the super chat. Van S. What if Kog'Maw's passive is Void lore related? The other Void being sent him as a suicide mission to stop Malzahar from converting others to Bel'Veth's side. This could be why his passive is a Cathian surprise. I mean, that would be a clever way to integrate it. Like that Kog'Maw is looking for Malzahar literally to suicide bomb him, destroy him. That would be quite funny. Victor Hendon. Do you think we will get Void transformed champion skins as a what if skin line? Maybe. I wouldn't assume that we're getting those now, but it's not impossible. Getting some fun evil versus Oblivion tropes with Bel'Veth and the Watchers. Yeah, like Bel'Veth is like, I don't want to destroy the world, I just want to eat it. Like, I just want to consume it and make it and remake it all in my own image. Which again, the thing we talked about, right? The yonic imagery, the imagery of the all-consuming mother, like that's very much being used here for those purposes. So Bel'Veth is the open-minded art student of the family. Not sure how to parse that one, Lagarto Colo, but Lagarto Loco? 94, but Sing to the silence. Some thoughts. 1. The Void fears the word. Christo-Hellenic logos. Yeah. Bel'Veth is what she eats. Bel'Veth is going the way of H.G. Wells as Martians. I mean, yeah, that would be a way to resolve it, is that she eats she consumes a virus and gets sick and dies. Like, oh shit, I got a cold. Oh god. That would be a way to deal with it. Like that Bel'Veth becomes decay and then decays. I like how the Void isn't hateful and a thing that just doesn't like reality because it doesn't like it. It is in pain and lashing out due to its suffering due to reality's sheer existence. Yeah. And that's the thing, is like the Void is the Void, as the story says, was forcibly brought into existence. Like, the Void didn't exist before reality and creation. There was nothing. Like, and as far as all the entities in the Void knew, they didn't exist either. Like, they had no existence, they had no consciousness, they had no awareness, they just slept, essentially. And then the reality explodes into existence and wakes them all up, and now all of a sudden they have to contend with the concept of being. So there's like a real Hegelian dialectics kind of thing going on where, I mean, it really is just like sort of that typical Hegelian thing of like the master-slave dialectic, where the Void as the master is being challenged by the recognition of the slave and sort of through that being forced to change. Simplistic version of Hegelian dialectics because they're overcomplicated and weird, but like that shit, you know? Okay. With fire came disparity. Yeah, Nandy K, it's that same kind of thing. You're quite right about that. Anyway, I think my voice has gone about as much as it can for this stream. So I'll hang out for a few more minutes, and we'll just let the cinematic play. And we'll talk. We'll talk for a bit. Why not? Oop, that looks like some spam. Just gonna get rid of that. Kassadin will 100% make an appearance. He also got a news splash and mentioned in the story. Yeah, like, I have to assume that Kassadin is going to show up. Like, I really do think I called it, that Kaisa and Kassadin are finally going to have some kind of a reunion or other. I really think I did. Because, like, that they seem to be driving towards that. And it's about fucking time, too. Because, like, they've been father and daughter, like that's been sort of the whole point of them, is that this tragic father-daughter relationship where they both got eaten by the void in different ways and are both obsessed with the void in different ways. Like that's sort of been part of their conception for a good hell of a long time now. Rek'Sai, where are you? Yeah, I'm wondering about that. Like, where the fuck is Rek'Sai? She was in the tunnels too. I guess she just kind of I guess Kaisa just evaded her. I guess we're just sort of meant to take that away. Super chat from Knight of Trousers. So what you're saying is that all the void creatures are lots of Mr. Meeseeks. Well, I don't watch Rick and Morty, so I don't really know what Mr. Meeseeks is beyond the meme from TikTok where he's shouting at himself. But sure, why not? Samantha Abelayan, get well soon. Thank you. I am already, like, I'm over the infection. I'm not infected anymore. I'm not, like, sick as such. It's just, I did a lot of coughing for a week, and my voice hasn't really recovered from it. Wouldn't Fiddle be the Void's most hated enemy, being the first scream of creation and all? I mean, Fiddlesticks might be one of the keys to killing Bel'Veth, because Fiddlesticks is a demon of fear, and Bel'Veth is afraid. She's afraid of the Void. So, like, he might actually be able to get one over on her, you know? Arlie803, you mean they would need a League of Legends to beat the Void? Yes. Yes, they would. They would need a league made up of legends. That is what they would need. That would be a way to bring it back, wouldn't it? Like, if like the final thing is that all the champions come together to destroy the Void, and then in the history books ever after they're named as the League of Legends. That would be a way to bring it back. Like, do that in Season 25 when the game finally has to die. I like your shorts. Well, thank you very much, Liam Andrew. I found your voice so satisfying for some reason. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, because it's it's a little rough on my end right now. And everyone thought Viego was a problem. Yeah, like, I mean, some people have said that Bel'Veth, being like, she's this monarch who mind controls people, it's a little bit too similar to Viego, and I'm like, I'm a little bit on board with, like, I agree a little bit with that. Like, it's like weird to introduce two major villains who kind of have the same gimmick so quickly after each other. Now, they don't have the same story at all. Like, Viego is all about, you know, toxic boyfriend, like, sort of the whole tainted love thing, like being that, like, Byronic, massive, like, over-romantic, whiny little spoiled brat boy man. Like, that's his whole vibe. And Bel'Veth doesn't have any of that there. But there is a little bit of, like, hey, could we maybe have had a big villain who didn't mind control people first? Something like that would have been fun. Would have been nice to space it out a little bit more, you know? I think it's funny for so long how the Shadow Wilds were the great villain of Runeterra. And now with Bel'Veth, the Void brought the scale so far. Yeah, I mean, that is a problem with the League of Legends universe more generally. It's like the Shadow Isles. Oh, the ruination. Oh, God, it's going to consume the whole world. So dangerous, so terrifying. And then Viego, who was like, oh, he's going to do the whole big ruination. They did the whole world-spanning ruination, threatened the fate of the entire world. And then Mordekaiser, who's like Viego times 10, because he's building a realm of death, and he's going to consume the entirety of Runeterra. And then the Void, which is also going to consume the entirety of Runeterra. And then, of course, there's Aurelion Sol, who also wants to destroy Runeterra. Like, he's just waiting for him to, like, he's still under some residual effects of his mind control crown. But the moment he's able to do it, he wants to destroy all of Runeterra. So, like, Runeterra has, like, it's a little bit like the Marvel universe, like, not the cinematic universe, but the Marvel Comics universe, where at any given time, there's always, like, 400 world-ending threats around, and it's kind of hard to get excited about any of them. Because, like, oh, yeah, we beat the Ruined King, woo. Here's Bel'Veth to consume the world. What skins do you think we'll get with this Void event? I don't know. Like, I really don't know the scale of what Riot is planning here. It might be, like, I'm hoping we get, like, a corrupted Kai'Sa skin would be fun. Be nice to see a new skin for Kassadin. But, like, in terms of how much we're gonna get, I don't know. Like, it might be we only get Bel'Veth in her launch skin. Doesn't he just hate Targon? Yeah, Thien, but he's like a cosmic space dragon, and he's not gonna make nice distinctions. Like, when he destroys Targon, Runeterra's going with it. Is there even going to be a Void event? I heard that they won't release a new event. I mean, as I would have to assume that it's not going to be any big deal. Like, it's going to be like missions and a battle pass in Legends of Runeterra or something. Like, I don't think it's going to be a huge, like, it's not going to be like a Sentinels of Light kind of thing. But, like, I think it's going to be like a bunch of lore drops and, I don't know, maybe another cinematic, something like that. Like, I think it's going to be that stuff. Is it me or is Bel'Veth's voice not synced with her mouth? Yes, I mean, I guess you came in a little late on that one. No, it's not synced with her mouth. Like, when she talks, she just mimics, like, she just flaps her lips vaguely, because that's what humans do, but she doesn't do it right. Like, she's not actually forming sounds with her mouth, because she doesn't talk through her mouth. She doesn't use vocal cords or tongue. She's just pretending. If you see this guy and you didn't see my super chat when we started. Oh, you're right, Bench. I'm sorry about that. Go billing for O's. Thank you. I had to scroll up a lot to see that one. Have the skills leaked? I don't know. I don't really look at leaks. You also forgot Darkin, Syra, and the Deep. Yeah, I mean, there's always more. There's always more. Check her splash art on Twitter. I've got her splash art right here. We've already looked at it. I'm sorry, this is the end of the stream-ish. We're just kind of hanging out and talking. And I've already talked about the splash art, so you'll have to watch the stream back. This is just like we just hang out and talking, and I'll probably cut the stream in not too long because I kind of need more tea. Are you planning to do some more videos on a Wild Rift? Also, how do you think they're going to do a pool party? Or do you think they're going to do a pool party skin for her, Kevin Yang? I don't know if I'm going to do more videos about Wild Rift especially. I might do some shorts on some of the skins and character models from it, but no videos as such. And do you think they'll do a pool party skin for her? I don't know how, but it would be fun. Real talk, where are all the gods to help with all these world-ending threats? I mean, you have Aurelion Sol, who's already been conscripted once before to help destroy the Void and destroy Void portals. You have the Aspects, you have, like, the Aspects, the god-like entities that exist in the Celestial realm. You have the Celestials themselves, characters like Soraka. And then, of course, you have, what are they called? Yeah, the Freljord gods. Like, there's lots of demigods and gods hanging around, but there's nothing really on a power level similar. Like, there's no... If there is a Void, there's no creator. Like, there's no god, like, omnipotent god-level power entity or character in the game yet, or the lore that we know of. There's more, like, terrestrial demigods and gods. How will you sum up your opinion for this stream? I like Bel'Veth. I like her a lot. I think she's a genuinely very good character design. I'm suspicious because they did give her a bit of hot lady aspect, like they did give her like the pretty face and do the thing of like making her look humanoid. And because it's Riot, I don't trust them about that. Like I'm like, but no, it's an anglerfish character design. It works, and I'm really happy with it. I think they did a really good job on it. The fact that in the splash art she has thighs disturbs me greatly. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing we talked about earlier when I was talking about the splash art, is it's a pareidolia. It's a thing of, like, if you identify it as a human shape, then you see the thighs. If you identify it as a monster, then this is just like her cloak or her thing just billowing, right? These are just billows. But the moment you see her as a human being, like the moment you see her as a human shape, that's when you see the thighs. But it's really, Bel'Veth is only imitating them. Like, Bel'Veth is just mimicking the shape of thighs. It's not she doesn't actually have them, but they're there as part of the splash art. Like it's part of the marketing for sure. They're marketing her with it, which is having their cake and eating it too, you know. MMO set to unite all and fight the void, imagine. Yeah, I mean, Mizumi, that's my speculation about the MMO, is that's going to be where they pull the trigger on that, like the end game of the MMO is going to be fighting the void, like fighting a full-scale void invasion. Like, I think that if they're going to do anything with it in Runeterra specifically, I think that's what they probably will do. And then there's going to be an expansion pack where, like, oh, Mordekaiser's coming. And then there's going to be an expansion pack where, the Darkin have built an army and are going to destroy the world or whatever. And like then there's an expansion pack with the Ruined King is back. But I would have to imagine that they'd start with the Void. Lizar with a super chat saying, I want the aspects to get dragged into this. Yeah, I mean, eventually they bloody well have to, because they've been fighting the Void before, so... Synodotus, imagine if in-game she's just the hot woman, but only becomes a monster when she uses her ult. That sounds like Riot to me. I mean, we'll have to see. We'll have to wait and see. Is a League of Legends MMO confirmed, Caleb Prouty? Yes. Well, Riot is working on an MMO. We don't know if it's actually going to come out. It could still get cancelled. We know that they're working on it. We know they've been hiring a lot of people for it. It seems to be set in the Runeterra universe. That's like they've sort of intimated as much. But beyond that, we don't know anything about it. But it's confirmed that they're working on it. Am I planning on covering the new Legends of Runeterra expansion? Yeah, but my voice needs to recover a little bit more before I do another 8-hour card review stream. So, you know. Anyway, I think we've about discussed as much as there is to discuss about Bel'Veth, at least as much as my voice can handle. So, I'm going to cut the stream here, and I'm going to say thank you very much for watching, everyone. Like, comment, subscribe, do the YouTube things. I have a Patreon, a merchandise store, and a tip jar. You can use those if you want to. It helps me pay for some of the, like, I've spent a lot of money on some of the videos that are coming up that I'm working on. And if you want to head over to Patreon and throw me like $1 a month there, I sure would appreciate the help. But if you don't want to or you can't, please don't worry about it. I am very happy that you watched this long-ass stream, as long as you watched it. And, yeah, wash your hands, wear a mask, take your vaccines, you know, just try and be kind to other people, and have solidarity with those who are worse off than yourself.